Many tourists visit it every year, the Bruce Cave, where Robert the Bruce, the hero, not just of Scotland itself, because he had his little tangle with the British really, but of those who revere the secrecy. So he now has been again immortalized, memorialized as such, and deified in the character that is known as Batman. That's why you can see the similarities between, I'm talking about Robert the Bruce and the Batman. You know, Batman is Bruce Wayne. If you notice the Batman character, he's not a superhero in the sense of, you know, he can fly away or he can look through the wall. He uses his intelligence, and he definitely has that utility belt. And of course, you know, he's a master spy and a martial artist and acrobat and a heap of scenes. So that's Batman himself. And of course, not to go to the depths of it, but again, you know, Batman and Robin, Robin and Bruce, Bruce Wayne, Robin and Bruce, Robert the Bruce, you understand. And of course, I just showed you the whole aspect of Robin, not Robin, but Robert the Bruce being the king of Scotland and the Gothic city. So Gotham, although it's pronounced Gotham, it's spelled Gotham, but we know it's Gotham, is the Gothic Scotland, you know, the Gothic city. And Robert the Bruce again, which is the king of Scotland, has his Bruce cave, just like Mr. Bruce Wayne, Batman, has his Bat cave as well. That's why when they figure out things, you would hear Robin say, "Great Scots, Batman, great Scots," you know, great Scots, Batman, you know. They also say, "Holy smokes," too. "Holy smokes, Batman," you know, we figure it out. We figured it out, you know, with the holy smokes. And you just listen to them good. So basically that whole science again of deifying and bringing their heroes, people that they look up to, specifically in the craft, those who had the ability to express the craft, like Mr. Chippendale had that ability to show that craft in the using the wood, the woodsman himself extraordinaire. We deify him. We remember him as a Chippendale, Thomas Chippendale, I may add, Robert the Bruce. You know, I don't know how deep he was in the craft, but he surely preserved the craft. He saved the craft. He kept them, you know, snug. He even saved himself in his own cave, the Bruce cave, renowned up to this day. People go and pay homage here, you know, because this is where the knights were saved and the order was protected when the King of France and the Pope were trying to run down the knights of the temples of Solomon. So he's deified. I'm sure they remember him in many other ways outside of statues and these different things, but for sure, for the kiddies, calling children kids is bad enough, but kiddies sound like, wow, you're just overdoing now. You know, they bring Batman and Robin. I am telling you. So I'm just putting this down to you so you have an understanding, if this is the first time you're hearing anything like this, of exactly what is going out there in the sublime, or what is going on out there in the sublime, the subliminal messages, the undertone essence that is coming towards you. So as it relates to the marijuana now, the ganja, the tree of life, you know, just to make you understand, this is not something that just came into perspective just the other day. The marijuana can be seen in the oldest medical books in China. The marijuana, the mafazan, as it's referred to as the ancient medical herbal doctors in the same China and Mongolia. You would see them directly dealing and chewing and partaking with the tree of life. It's a medicinal plant. You know, in ancient Kemet, you also see them partaking of it specifically in the incense holders and in the pipes. And I know many ones will say, well, Ross, that doesn't necessarily mean they're smoking it, which really wasn't the point I was making at all. In fact, we just did a program previous evening, what people call last night, where we were talking about the temple in Tel Aviv, where they found the two altars, one for frankincense and one for jar incense. which is the cannabis sativa. In fact, we did a small excerpt, well, not excerpt, but we did a small program dealing with the same subject. It was actually a promotion for that radio program on the YouTube. So the YouTube fans, if you haven't seen that, it's a very short video, about 3 minutes or 4 minutes, right there on the YouTube. Just, I think it's yesterday. Yes, it's yesterday that we did it. So you would see it was a BBC report we were reading, and you would see the article itself on the screen, and you actually see the two temples. One is higher than the other, and they actually burned cannabis on one of them. You know, he didn't say they smoked the cannabis. It just said they burn the cannabis. So we're just showing to you that the utilization of the cannabis is from ancient time. It is not something brand new, as if, well, it's just the Rastaman then bring this in. No, it is definitely from ancient time. Even, as I said, in the oldest medical papyri, in the oldest medical manuscripts, in the oldest medical books, you see the cannabis sativa, the same hemp, the same hemp, the same ganja. You know, the Ganges is the ganja. You know, the Ganges River is all about the ganja too. Yeah, ganja is an ancient god. That is why we see the cannabis even represents the god, which we will get into right now. So you can see it. This is the god Tahuti, you know, also known as thought, the god of wisdom. So he's the god of wisdom, the god of thought, you know. That's where the name thought comes from. Thought, like you have a thought, his name is thought. Tahuti, you understand? Not Hermes at all. And if you notice, you see him there with his pen and he's writing. And this is his empress, his beloved one. This is a Shishat. Sometimes she's seen in a tree as she represents the tree. And if you notice here, she has her pen and she's writing as well. And she has above her head the tree, the leaf itself of wisdom. You understand? Now, scientists and archaeologists are saying, we're not too sure what leaf this is. I mean, they just don't want to say the obvious, that it is a cannabis leaf. It is the ganja leaf. And she, obviously, she is the woman of wisdom. You know, wisdom is a woman, according to the Bible. She's not necessarily described as wisdom here. In fact, he's the one that is more given the title of wisdom, but that's her husband. And she is the record keeper of his wisdom. She's the Liberian. You know, she is specifically Shishat, you see. And look what is above her head, the ganja leaf. So this is very important here, family, because the ganja leaf, the marijuana, is an outstanding plant. And what it is showing you is that from even ancient time, we recognize that and we respected that. And that is why you see us utilizing it here. As I said, sometimes she's seen even in the trees. So she's somewhat like the Akashic records, as she holds the memory of Mr. Tahuti, Mr. Thought, your thought, the ibis. If you notice, he's an ibis bird, like the cannabis. Yes, you can. The ibis, the cannabis, and we'll get to a bit more that information there. You go into the classics of Confucius, the books of the old of Shi King. You know, inside the book, it speaks highly of the cannabis, the mafaizan, you know, and speaks of its potency and how it's used in ritualistic ceremonies. That is the marijuana, the tree of life, the cannabis sativa. And then, of course, you have the great Vishnu, of course, from that tradition, as we were saying in another program, that when Vishnu came out of the Kailash mountains, Vishnu had a whole ganja tree, you know what I mean, in one hand, and also had in the other hand the scroll or the book pertaining to the art of yoga. So you can see, family, that they go together, they balance together, not just yoga as you know it, but just the whole science of Zen and meditation and ritualistic understanding. So you see the partner here laying back with the snake, sipping some of the ganja wine. This may be ganja wine or Banglassi or one of them vibration that is made from the marijuana itself. You see him in the lotus position, you know, and fire on the ground like a real Rastaman, and like a chalice there, and look like a skull on the ground there too, a little cup, and red, black, and green or something of the sort, and the Honorable Empress as well, you know, and partaking or imparting the beloved juice of joy there to the God ritualistically. So yeah, we can see this from the ancient time, and that's what it is. It's marijuana. That's where this picture came from, the understanding of the use of the marijuana in the ancient Hindu tradition. And you see it being used with Vishnu and Shiva and Brahma. And you have here the chalice cup. Now the chalice cup from the ancient church, even the Ethiopian Orthodox chalice cup, represents the wine. The wine is what's put in the chalice cup, which is supposed to be the blood of Christ, you know, but the ancient chalice is this chalice here. I'm telling you straight up, you know, this is why this is very esoteric, family. This is some esoteric stuff. At the Last Supper, the Lamb himself, that's Christ, eh? He's the same lamb that they speak of in the Old Testament that they put on the altar and sacrifice. So he, the Lamb, was there tearing the bread. The lamb and the bread is one. It's the lamb's bread. And the lamb's bread now is the marijuana that you put in the cup. Because remember, at the Last Supper, they take the bread and they dip the bread in the wine. Watch any one of these church people doing the communion. They take the bread and dip it in the wine, at least the one that the pastor drink. They dip that in the wine, and he eat that like he soaked the bread in the blood, if you want to call it that. And he... Now, when you partake of the tree of life, when the chalice, I'm talking about the marijuana inside it, goes down into the water, the burning the herb, the smoke go into the water, eh? The lamb's bread get dipped into the water and then come back out, and then you sip it because it's not smoke anymore. It is clouds. That's one of the reasons we don't burn spliff and them things there, because this is the ceremony. This is the Last Supper of Christ, you know, the first supper right now. That's why he told them, you know, anytime you eat and drink, because the two elements must be there. You know, the bread and the wine. The wine is created when you turn water into wine, because remember, the plant specifically represents the tree of life, eh? Represents the Christ man. That is why Osiris is seen green, because he represents the Christ man. That's why the Christ in the Bible is described as a tree, you know, from the root of David and the seed of Jesse and the stem of Jacob and all of these different things. And a branch shall come out of David's loin and all of that, because it's like a tree, a literal tree, you know. Even the blind man in the Bible, they say when he started to see, they ask him, what do you see? And he said, I see trees moving around. They say, okay, Christ, touch his eyes again one more time. And they touch it and say, what do you see now? Okay, I see human beings. So he saw people as trees. We are like trees, you know. That's why we have veins running through us, just like how you see the trees and the waters running through the tree. So the tree of life specifically is more than just a tree. Eh? It's a tree, but it's not a tree. The tree of life is Christ. Christ is the real and main tree of life. That's why you have the tree of life meditational system. There was a wonderful book written by, what's the name of the man there again, Princess? Ra Amun Nefer, Ra Nefer Ra Amun specifically. I'm sure some of you have come to that book, the writer of the Medunetta, and also the book, the Tree of Life specifically. And he goes real deep in that book. You know, I had 2 of those books actually, talking about the whole balance of the meditational system specifically. But the Tree of Life is a man, the Christ, and the Christ man has conquered the Tree of Life meditational system too, up to the Amun stage, like Emperor Haile Selassie I. So this is why the symbolic Christ man is seen green, because he represents the tree, the green man. He's also seen in the same Hulk. Hulk is seen green, and Al-Qaeda, you know, no need to hit the floor, no, brother. I'm not talking of no terrorism. Al-Qaeda is the ancient green god in ancient Islam. Most Islamic people may not want to admit that, but I'm talking truth. Al-Qaeda, the great green, that's what they call him, you know. So the tree of life is the Christ figure, but there is a tree that represents the tree of life. That's it. And this same tree, which is the marijuana that represents the tree of life, is one of those, as we were talking about last night, psychoactive trees, you know, with the THC and how it affects the DMT as well, which we've gone in depths when it comes to expressing how the DMT basically takes you to another plane. The activation of the DMT basically take you to another dimension. If you're dealing with parallel worlds, the DMT will carry to the parallel world too. But you see, we're talking about not magic mushrooms, no disrespect, not even the ayahuasca, no disrespect, but we're talking about the marijuana, the cannabis sativa. We're talking the tree of life. All right. So this is why this is another program that we've covered. A lot of this is revision and still preparation for Wednesday night. So you see, when you come in Wednesday night, don't look for us to go over all of this stuff here. This is preparation. I know, well, everyone that's listening here should be there on Wednesday night. But let's just say one of you are not there. Yeah, but for sure, those who are listening, you're coming in Wednesday. This is just the preparation. You understand? So you shouldn't just be getting the preparation, you should be getting the full course. Now, this is something we have done already. This is a video you could go back on YouTube and check out. Chalice in Wonderland. Yes, Chalice in Wonderland. You should watch it. After this, you should watch it. You see Alice now, her whole cast of characters are smokers. Everybody puffing something, basically. The Warrior's puffing his old cigar there. Mr. Dodo definitely puffing his pipe. Don't talk about the caterpillar. And then the cat himself, not caterpillar, but the cat. He is not seen smoking anything, but he definitely on something. And, you know, even the presence of the mighty mushroom too. And the mushroom, she also became big in a mushroom house. And then she also became big in a tree. Very symbolic. Just like She-Shot is seen in the tree, she was seen in the tree. So she is the living tree. She is the living mushroom. And what I said, don't get me wrong, no disrespect to no plant, you know, no mushroom, no, well, it's a fungi really, no other blue lotus or no acacia. They all have their purpose, Rasta. What are you talking about? But when it comes to partaking and so-called smoking, man, the marijuana, the tree of life that represents God Almighty, it's the marijuana specifically and positive. So this movie goes into the psychedelics a lot. That's why there's a lot of mushrooms and getting big and getting small. You know, Alice in Wonderland. How do you get to Wonderland? How it go again? Over the hill and across the land. Something like that.
Or clouds.
Yeah, or just behind a tree. So to get to Wonderland, you could just go behind a specific tree and you get to Wonderland. There's a specific part where she was singing. You could learn a lot of things from the flowers. Just meditate on these lyrics. You can learn a lot of things from the flowers. We've learned a lot of things from the flowers, haven't we? Especially in the month of June. And we remember when she went amongst the flowers, they said, you're not a flower, you're a weed. Yeah, that's what they told her. You're a weed. Bluntly, hear what the old granny flower said. Bluntly speaking, that's what she said. To put it bluntly, the children said. To put it bluntly, you're a weed, or you look like a weed, or something like that.
Yeah, a weed.
You're a weed. Bluntly, wrap up one. Imagine that. So you know, go and check it out. Just type in Alice in Wonderland, Priest Isaac, and I'm sure the whole thing will come up right there on the YouTube. All right, so the science is in there. That's why I call it chalice. Chalice in Wonderland. Look at the teacups at the very unbirthday party there. Everybody burning. It looks like a simple thing, but it's all all right. The granddaddy here now. Look at the granddaddy here. What's Sweepy burning this? Smoking? Oh, that's his water bottle. Can't fool us, you know. Try something. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, let me just show you something here before. Let me show you the reality. You know, this is from. Watch this here. Let me take off the volume. I don't want the volume. Watch this here. Okay. So spinach, Popeye. You're gonna see him pluck out 3 nice buds, 3 buds. 1, 2, 3, bam, 3 nice buds. I don't know how clear that was on the visual. Let me repeat it again. 3 nice buds, bam, bam, bam. And he put that in his pipe. That's Popeye, put that in his pipe. Let's knock that one more time. Spinach, eh? Subliminal message, bam, bam, bam. And he put that, and he chewed that up. All right, and you know the result thereof. Okay, now there's another one here, about 5, 10. Now watch this, family. Again, this is Popeye. Spinach on the top, watch it here. Suck it through the pipe again. Bam. You know the end result. I don't have to show you all what happens.
Got a healthy draw.
Get a healthy draw with this one. Clean boy. Okay, let's watch a little bit. Watch, you know, earthquake in a room, the one, volcano and thing them. Oh my. All right, take it easy. Yes. So what you're looking there now, and give thanks specifically for those who officiated that for us. Now, what I was showing you there, family, is something that, I mean, they have several parts where you see the big man sucking his spinach to his pipe. Now, to some, it may look like, oh man, you're just kind of playing with it. But the reality is, we know the importance, again, of the marijuana. This is what I'm trying to show to you, family. This is not a joke. This is a serious vibes. Now, the Popeye figure is a Christ figure. Just like the Pinocchio figure is a Christ figure. Long time we saying these things. Just like even the Snow White and all of them things is a Christ figure because of the way they have been constructed, and especially when you compare them to the older versions of them, when you compare these stories to who they're coming from and who they are a product of. All right. So if you notice on Mr. Popeye hand, he has this ankh. Sometimes it looks like an anchor, but many times it looks just like an ankh. Popeye, one eye. Very important to understand the science of the Popeye. I know there's a real figure they say Popeye came from, it, a man that actually looked like how Popeye looked, you know. But notwithstanding that, I'm not doubting that. Give thanks. But the Popeye himself, you know, a man with a pipe and the whole thing looked like Robin Williams. But the Popeye concept is the God with the one eye. That's why you see the pyramid with the one eye. It's for the third eye, represents the same acorn, pineal gland, the one eye. That's why Christ in the Bible says, better that you be one eye. Yes, I know you may say, no, what he was speaking of, that's not what he meant. That's what not he, I never say what he meant. I'm just saying Christ spoke about being one eye. It's better that thou be one eye for whatever he meant. You understand? Because here, Papa is expressing the one eye. The one eye is a science of the God. The one eye God, some say the one eye represents Lucifer, but anyway, one eye. Now, if you notice, other traits of the Christ figure is that Papa is a seaman. He's a sailor man. He's always on the sea. Just like the Christ is with his brethren, the fishermen, them, and they would always be on the sea. You know, what's his name? Popeye's wife is olive oil. You know, as you were saying the other day, King, I mean, you know, some spinach and some olive oil make a nice, good dish there, for real. And olive oil, once we understand that olive oil is Popeye's wife, well, then I would assume that olive oil would have offered some level of comfort to Popeye. If you notice, when Christ wants comfort, he goes to the Mount of Olives. You understand, as this Christ figure here. If you notice here too, this is an old cartoon, family, one of the old cartoons of Popeye. I don't know if it's before he hit the screen or what. And look at what he's telling. Ahoy, Brutus. I wants me moon plant back. Here we want back. His moon plant. That's a high grade. The man want back his moon. And then Brutus says, oh sure. You check it. So even as I said, and you see have an ankh here on his hand again. Even as I said, even down to his little youth sweep, you know. It's not sweet P, it's sweep, it spells sweep like a broom, SWEEP, and then EA, sweep E. You know, and remember, we did the program with the ancient saint. that carry the broom, Saint De Martins, and we showed you of the King Emmanuel order and the sweeping and the cleaning sweep eat, you know. So there are a lot of connections here. And then to top it off in a man is the man with the chalice. The man burning this hookah here and still have his pipe in the other side of his mouth. So the eating of the spinach through the pipe is highly symbolic of the agency of the chalice itself, the partaking of the cup in that you see on even the ancient walls, and the use of the marijuana. Not that the spinach that you eat is not good, but as I said, this is not a health class. This is esoteric symbolism that is being portrayed day and night before your face. You understand? Holy Manuel High, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So as I said, when we got a Wednesday, we'll be putting that on another level. This is the firing squad edition. I'm definitely looking for everyone to come through. Remember, this one is myself, the princess, and the prince will be conducting that rendition here. That is Wednesday, the 22nd day of December. The admission is only $20, family. Remember, this is during the Yule time season, or Yule tide. What they call it? Yule tide? I don't know if it's a tide gonna come and wash away people, but Yule tide season. And then a lot of abracadabra and so, a lot of rushing and buying and jingle bells and what did you get for me and gifts and all of that. But listen, family, what I'm saying, give yourself this gift here. You definitely should sit in with us and partake of an evening of good meditation, good lecturing. And then the next evening we come in again. This one will be hosted by myself with the Santa Claus Massacre. That will be total annihilation. That as well, only $20 family. And then on the 26th, remember that is Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. 3 mighty online lectures. Again, if you were to take in all 3 of the lectures, you get them at a discount price of only $50. So we definitely have something in store for you, family, for the fullness of that season, for the fullness of that whole time. And definitely, obviously, you see that is we're crushing it on the feet as we go through. Give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Remind you once again that you definitely will get a nice brand new delivered to your door Tiger's Nest t-shirt if you definitely order the international homeschool class before my Earth Day, that is. Not on my Earth Day, before my Earth Day. So technically, on the Gregorian calendar or Julian calendar, New Year. That'll be a wonderful blessing to whoever it is that you're ordering the international homeschool for them to get a Tiger's Nest t-shirt. Yes, give thanks, family, for the life giver and the keeper of life. And honestly, man, give thanks for the love. Give thanks for all those who express the love towards I and I, even in the comments, those who show gratitude for the work, and those that support, and those that patronize, and all of these different things. It's just a joy and just a love. Remember, this year, we actually had 3 patrons of the year. We have 2 more patrons that we have to publicly award. Brother David and Brother Mike, so look for that award coming very soon, So love in the house, family, life giver and the keeper of life. It was really a joy, I full enjoyed it. Holy Manuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love. Thanks.